Welcome back to the deep dive. Today we're looking at something a little different. It's an architectural blueprint, but not for a building. It's for engineering perfect, restful surrender.
That's right. Our source material isn't, a government report or anything like that. It's this meticulously detailed, guided relaxation journey called The Lake of Resting Stars.
And our mission today is to treat this whole thing, this really sensory-rich journey, not just as poetry or, a soothing audio drag.
Exactly. We're treating it as a piece of sophisticated cognitive architecture.
I love that framing. We're basically analyzing the blueprint for a mental sanctuary. And for our listener who really values understanding the mechanisms behind things, what are the key components here? How are they strategically ordered to shift a mind from, well, busy and scattered to total passive rest?
It's all about systemic disassembly of stress. And the whole system, it starts with immediate, very precise action. So phase one, the initial setup and grounding. The instruction to get comfortable is pretty standard, but the guide immediately establishes this anchor. It's designed to regulate your nervous system before any of the real visualization even starts.
And that anchor is the breath.
Yeah.
I really want to spend a moment on this because the description is so specific. It's not just breathe slowly.
Right, which everyone knows, but it's hard to do.
Exactly. This is a slow, gentle breath in through the nose, and then, this is the crucial part, the exhale, out through the mouth, as if you were blowing out a single small candle.
That detail, that subtle instruction on motor control for the exhale is just a masterstroke of design.
Oh, so?
Well, most people, when they try to relax their breathing, they sort of push the air out forcefully.
Yeah, right.
And that can actually spike your anxiety a little because that forceful push kind of mimics an exertion response. But a single small candle, that instruction demands a gentle, measured, and a controlled release.
I see. So if you blow too hard, you fail. The candle's out. But if you breathe too softly, you don't do anything. It forces a very specific, gentle kind of focus.
Exactly that. And that little bit of precise motor engagement forces the mind to lock onto the physical task, just for a moment. And neurologically, that long, gentle exhale is the key. It activates the parasympathetic nervous system through the vagus nerve.
So you're basically tricking your body into feeling safe.
You are. By extending and softening that exhale, the brain gets the signal. We are safe. We are not running from a threat. It lowers your heart rate, your blood pressure, almost instantly. It's a biological backdoor to calm.
Okay, but let's play devil's advocate for a second. For someone whose mind is just racing, spreadsheets, deadlines, all of that, doesn't introducing a hyper-specific task like this risk creating a new point of anxiety, a new thing to fail at?
That's a really sharp point. And the blueprint handles it by making the stakes incredibly low. You're just asked to do something everyone understands, blowing out a candle, and the only goal is gentleness.
So there's minimal friction.
Minimal functional friction, and that friction is productive. It distracts the prefrontal cortex, the worrying part of the brain, just long enough for the body to get into the right physiological state. The goal of this first phase is, like the source says, drifting farther from the noise of the day and closer to a quiet, still place deep inside. That candle is the key that starts the engine on that drift.
Okay, so the breath is anchored, the body's getting the all-clear signal. We then transition immediately into the environment itself.
Right. We're moving past grounding the body, and now we're grounding the mind in a new reality, section 1, establishing the sensory landscape and core metaphor.
Because just a mental exercise is easy to get knocked out of.
It's vulnerable. But a multi-sensory environment, that creates an immersive kind of high-definition reality that's just far more durable. So the guide strategically introduces multiple senses before you even see the lake.
Let's break down that initial sensory triad. The air is cool and fresh, the scent is a faint scent of pine and clean water, and the ground texture is a smooth mixture of sand and tiny pebbles that shift softly. Why that specific combination?
Each of those serves a very specific function. The air being cool and fresh, that instantly lowers your perceived temperature. Psychologically, that's linked to moving away from stress or conflict. Heat can be a sign of danger or exertion for the primal brain.
So coolness is calm.
Coolness is refreshing, it's inert. Then you have the scent pine and clean water. Those are just primal sense of cleansing and safety. They're clean, they're open, there's no threat, no pollution. It creates this immediate association with health, with untouched wilderness.
I'm really interested in the ground texture, the sand and pebbles that shift softly.
That is designed specifically to counteract vigilance. If the ground were hard stone, your body would subconsciously tense up, demand stability. If it were soft mud, it might imply some risk, instability. But smooth sand and pebbles that yield but still support you, that sends a profound message to your body. It
Yeah.
says, you don't need to hold yourself rigid. The ground will gently conform to you. It's the first physical promise that it's okay to let go of muscle tension.
Okay, so the environment is built, it's safe, it's yielding, and now the blueprint introduces the central idea, the lake of resting stars.
Yes.
It starts with something familiar, deep velvet blue sky, full moon, a silver path on the water. But then comes this moment of cognitive reframing.
And that moment is so critical. The source makes sure you understand that the stars are not just passive reflections on the water. They are tiny, gently glowing lanterns floating just beneath the surface.
That's a huge shift. We need to analyze that.
Okay.
What is the psychological difference between a reflection and a floating lantern?
A reflection is an illusion. It's fleeting, it's passive, it depends on an external light source. If the water ripples too much, the image just shatters.
And the analytical mind knows that. A skeptical mind would struggle to trust an illusion.
Exactly. A floating lantern, on the other hand, is contained. It's stable. It's actively emitting its own light, and crucially, it's safe beneath the surface.
So the lake is holding something real, something stable.
The lake isn't reflecting the light, it is holding the light. Stability is everything for rest. And the action of the lake reinforces this. These resting stars bob slowly, sending shivers of light up the beach. This turns the lake from just a picture into an active, protective, even nurturing entity.
And the whole narrative, it sets up the stars as resting entities. So it kind of normalizes the concept of rest on a cosmic scale.
That's a great way to put it. Even the stars, these vast, energetic things, they need to rest too. The entire universe is sort of bending towards your need to just stop.
Okay, so that's the psychological foundation. Now the architecture needs a way to move us, which brings us to the invitation to passive movement.
Yes, the boat. It's described as small, simple, strong, with smooth planks. And it has a golden lantern hanging from a hook, casting this gentle circle of contained warmth.
So the boat and its own little lantern create a mobile zone of safety. It gives you visibility without being aggressive, which keeps the vastness of the lake from feeling overwhelming.
But the most critical function here is the commitment to surrender. This whole section is designed to explicitly deactivate your executive function. The boat offers a quiet promise of a journey with no effort, no destination you must reach.
And that phrase right there, that's the key to unlocking the resistance of a typical high-functioning mind. The second you feel there's a goal, even a goal like relax deeply, you start strategizing how to do it.
And the planning itself creates stress, so the script just preempts that. It removes your agency. The surrender is physical and automated. The rod unloops itself with a quiet, friendly slip, and the boat just glides away, pushed by a tender, invisible current.
No touching the oar needed, only trust.
That is the moment of cognitive handoff. The environment takes over. For the person who carries the burden of managing everything all day, this non-effortful gliding is the ultimate luxury. You are given permission to completely relinquish control and just watch the journey unfold.
So now we're gliding. We're moving into section 2, deepening the state of sanctuary and synchronization. The boat's moving effortlessly, and now you're introduced to the active job of the lake.
Yes, the purification of lingering thoughts.
The focus comes back to those waterborne stars. We learn their colors, pale gold, cool blue, or soft lavender. And the mechanism is simple, but it's really powerful. Every time the boat passes near a star, you feel a tiny wave of warmth and relaxation wash over you.
This is the core processing function of this whole mental space. These stars are actively removing stress. Each one quietly takes away a small piece of your tiredness, a fragment of leftover thought, and it tucks it into the depths of the lake where it can rest too.
So the architecture gives your mind a concrete visual protocol for dealing with intrusive thoughts. They don't just vanish, which that feels unrealistic.
Right.
They're actively transformed into a physical thing, a piece of light, and they're outsourced to the lake for safekeeping. That is truly structured cognitive replacement.
It manages the mind's natural tendency to, take inventory and ruminate. If you just tell someone, don't worry, the worry often gets worse. But by providing a clear, visual, rhythmic place to deposit the worry, the mind understands the thought is accounted for. It's stored safely. You don't need to keep monitoring it.
But let me challenge that a bit. For the skeptical learner, doesn't that require a high degree of focus? To continuously identify thoughts, transform them, deposit them onto a star? Isn't that just replacing one mental checklist with another?
That's where the design is so clever. It doesn't require sustained focus. It's a momentary choice.
Yeah.
The gentle rock of the boat, the cool breeze, those are continuous low-level anchors. If a thought does pop up, the lake gives you the instant protocol for what to do with it. But the environment itself is so soothing that the need to keep doing it just diminishes.
And the colors. Gold, blue, lavender.
They're strategic. Gold could be warmth, energy being absorbed. Blue is deep, tranquil, calm. And lavender suggests transformation, maybe a more spiritual kind of rest. Your mind can sort of choose the color that best fits the worry you're offloading.
That makes sense. Visual cues for categorization, making the process faster. And during this glide, we also get this sensory and rhythmic alignment.
Yes, the atmospheric details are meticulously designed for synchronization. The breeze is light, clean, cool, and it carries the faint scent of blooming night flowers.
That's a complex scent profile. Why combine a gentle floral scent with the damp earth and smooth stone?
The night flowers, they provide that element of subtle beauty, a positive stimulus. But the damp earth and stone are deeply grounding. They represent physical reality, stability, timelessness. It's a sensory combination that's designed to keep you floating yet profoundly tethered at the same time. There's no risk of drifting into a dissociative state. You're safe inside a contained, structured world.
And this leads directly to synchronization. The guide tells you to notice how your breath's rhythm starts to match the rhythm of the boat's movement, and your mind grows pleasantly soft around the edges.
This is the principle of entrainment. When your internal biological rhythms, like breathing, align with a gentle external rhythm, like the rocking of the boat, the brain naturally slows its frequency waves.
And that phrase, pleasantly soft around the edges.
It's the critical feedback cue. It confirms that the hard analytical boundaries between your thoughts are dissolving, preparing your mind for the deep rest phase.
And we get that little flash of quiet life, the sleepy fish below, scales catching the lantern light like a brief flash of liquid silver.
It's a strategic flash. It's meant to confirm that the world is active, but it's entirely subdued. Everything in this landscape, the boat, the stars, the fish, is either resting or operating on this minimal, quiet frequency. It reassures your subconscious that you don't need to be vigilant because nothing here is a threat.
As the boat glides on, we encounter the first architectural wonders, these visual metaphors that reinforce the meaning of rest itself. First up, the dreaming tree.
This is a brilliant expansion of the core idea. You pass this small, mossy rock island with a single tree, and the key detail is that some of the resting stars have floated up and are hanging in his branches, like a patient, glowing fruit.
So the tree is, metaphorically, it's consuming the lake's light, the distilled worries, and it's turning that energy into patient, glowing fruit.
Precisely. It provides this subtle but profound positive reinforcement. Rest is not just stopping, it's productive. Deep rest, like the tree's dreaming, is a generative process. It transforms stress into something patient and fruitful. For an achievement-oriented person, that reframes sleeping from a passive necessity into an active source of rejuvenation.
And then we get the ultimate sonic metaphor, the distant bell. I feel like this defines the temporal architecture of the whole sanctuary. It's low, melodic, and it chimes only once every long while.
The infrequency of that bell is the key mechanism for destroying your perception of linear time. In our modern lives, every sound cue, a notification, a clock, it all reminds us of schedules, urgency.
Right.
If this bell rang rhythmically, it would just become a subconscious clock. But by chiming only once every long while, it anchors you to this concept of spacious, unbounded time. It defines the sanctuary as a place outside the normal pressures of the day.
And the effect of the sound is described as tactile. It says the note vibrates softly through the chest and back, loosening something that was tight, like a knot in your thoughts quietly unwinding.
This is the auditory element directly addressing that leftover physical tension. Your mind might be quiet, but the physical stress, that knot in your shoulders, the clenching in your jaw that often remains, the low-frequency vibration of the bell acts like a subtle sonic massage. It gives you a direct physical sensation of release. It confirms that the blueprint is dissolving tension at every level, mental, emotional, and physical, without you having to consciously do it.
It provides irrefutable physical proof that the process is working. It's a beautiful piece of design. So we're deeply relaxed now, moving into the final transition.
We are. We're at the final gateway. This is section 3. The gateway and arrival at the ultimate resting place, and the passage is beneath the archway sanctuary.
And again, the description is so detailed. 2 leaning trees curve and meet over the water, their branches laced together like careful fingers.
That metaphor, careful fingers, is crucial for protection. As you pass underneath, you are assured of shelter, of containment. This archway functions as a kind of psychological airlock, a final barrier filtering out any remaining vigilance before you enter the deepest part of the sanctuary.
And the light changes here dramatically.
Yeah.
We move away from the cool silver and gold. Tiny glass orbs are hanging from the branches, holding sleeping glowworms. They cast a greenish light, turning the water into an enchanted pattern of emerald and sapphire.
The shift in light signals a deeper transition into the realm of rest and dreams. Green and blue are highly soothing colors, but by calling it an enchanted pattern, the script signals a step away from pure reality and into a protected magical space. And crucially, the light source is sleeping glowworms. Even the energy source is resting.
It reinforces that universal permission to be quiet.
Mm.
And this is where the explicit instruction for sensory surrender happens. You're told to close your eyes, just feel the sensations, the feet rocking, the cool air, the relaxing stretch in your neck, and the growing heaviness in your arms and legs.
After passing through that protective, visually stunning archway, the environment demands absolute trust. This is the moment to surrender fully to gravity and sensation. That growing heaviness is reframed as success. Your body is answering the command to let go. And pinpointing the relaxing stretch in the neck addresses a nearly universal stress point.
Okay, so the visual architecture of the archway justifies that final physical letting go. Once through this airlock, the boat moves into a wider section of the lake where the stars are pulsing gently, brightening and softening in rhythm with your breathing.
This is the positive feedback loop at its peak. The functional parts of the lake, the resting stars, are now visually mirroring your own perfectly synchronized internal rhythm. The environment is actively confirming you're doing this correctly, your body is coherent.
The boat is approaching its final destination, a larger islet where smooth stones form a protective ring around a tiny sandy cove.
The transition from open water back to stable ground, but in a contained space, is essential for security. The larger island provides permanence, and that ring of smooth stones symbolizes a definite boundary. Profound protection. It signals that nothing from the outside busy world can breach this ring. It is completely safe, anchored, and prepared just for you.
And the arrival itself is completely effortless. The dock is lit by small lanterns made from seashells and glass, emitting a gentle pearly glow, and the boat aligns and stops so smooth and effortless you barely feel it.
The seamlessness of the docking is the final removal of all responsibility. The environment handles everything perfectly. The seashell and glass lanterns maintain that low stimulation aesthetic, favoring natural, pearly light over anything harsh or artificial. You step onto the dock feeling balanced and secure.
And finally, we reach the clearing. The path is soft with pale stones leading through starlight-shimmering trees, and you're immediately instructed to notice the cognitive state you've achieved.
This is the moment of measured success. The mind has reached a state of no lists, no rehearsed conversations, no spinning images, just a wide, spacious calm, as if someone has opened a window inside your thoughts.
That spatial metaphor, opening a window inside your thoughts, that's powerful. It means the goal isn't mental emptiness, which can be really hard to achieve.
And frustrating.
Yeah. It's about unrestricted freedom from mental clutter. The thoughts are gone, and what's left is breathable, calm space.
And the spacious mind is met with ultimate physical comfort. The bedding confirms the final support structure. The clearing is soft with moss and fine grass. The blanket is woven from threads that shine faintly like moonlight cotton cloth.
The ground yields like a warm sponge, cradling every part of your body, so there is no strain, no discomfort, only ease.
This is the blueprint's final act of physical perfection. It preemptively addresses and solves every potential point of physical strain. That warm, yielding quality, described as a sponge, it ensures that the natural pressure points that might trigger discomfort and wake you up are just eliminated.
Yeah.
Your body is given a full, unassailable excuse to let go and drift.
Okay, we're now moving into the final section, section 4, the mechanism of deep, unbroken sleep. The person is physically settled, cognitively quieted, and the environment is gently signaling the final descent.
The visual signals are first. The lanterns on the dock dim themselves almost imperceptibly. It's a silent, smooth command to enter the deeper stages of sleep, and the soundscape blends into a final lullaby. Subdued night insects, they're chirping slow and rhythmic, blending with that continuous, soothing hush of water lapping. Everything is slowing down.
And then the culmination of the entire architectural design. The final, most unique element appears, the falling stars. These stars overhead are lazily spiraling downward like feathers, landing softly as a warm, weightless point of comfort on the body.
This is the definitive transition from abstract visualization to direct, tactile, and emotional assurance. The star imagery, which started as a reflection, then became a lantern, then processed stress, now becomes a physical agent of comfort.
And they're described as falling like feathers, which emphasizes weightlessness.
Even though their function is to make your limbs feel heavier and more relaxed, they're pressing you deeper into the resting surface without applying any actual pressure. They're the final, gentle anchors.
And each one carries a specific, incredibly important verbal message. The script tells you, you are safe, you have done enough, you may rest now.
That phrase is a psychological permission slip of immense power. Our audience, the busy learner, often struggles with sleep precisely because they feel they have to stay mentally vigilant, that they have unfinished business.
Or that their self-worth is tied to being productive all the time.
Exactly. By stating explicitly, you have done enough, the script proactively addresses that common internal guilt and grants total authorization to just stop. It validates the need for rest without any conditions.
The mental release that follows is described as this feeling of floating in a balance between sky and ground, water and air, a dissolution of physical boundaries.
Which indicates the transition into true early sleep stages. And even at this final point, the system still has its protocol for managing any leftover thoughts. If one lingers, the guide says to transform it into a small glowing point of light that sails quietly away across the water to join the other resting stars.
So even the last stray fragment of worry is instantly outsourced and integrated into the lake system. The sanctuary is designed to be a continuous, benevolent processing center right up until the point of total unconsciousness.
Absolutely. The final physical signs of surrender are noted, eyelids getting heavier, gaze becoming unfocused, and the environment completes its protective measures. The moon pulls a thin veil of cloud behind it like a curtain being drawn, and the lake grows stiller. The drawing of the curtain is the ultimate act of sensory sealing.
And the experience of time is recalibrated here, which is so vital. Minutes stretch out, generous and quiet.
The destruction of linear time perception is essential for truly restorative sleep. In this space, moments are abundant and pressure-free. The guide uses the word generous intentionally. The time for rest isn't grudgingly stolen from productivity, it's freely offered by the sanctuary.
And finally, the blueprint guarantees you can come back. The final instruction and promise. The path back to this clearing will appear without effort whenever you want, just by feeling your breath and remembering the soft rock of the boat and the cool glow of the water.
It's a highly efficient retrieval mechanism. You don't need to memorize the whole 30-minute journey. You just need to access the initial, simplest anchors, the rhythmic breath, the tactile sensation of the boat, and that visual cue of the cool glow. The entire architecture is designed to unfold effortlessly from those three simple inputs, which empowers you with a reliable, low-effort tool for the future.
This has been a really comprehensive analysis. We've unpacked the Lake of Resting Stars, not as some simple relaxation script, but as a masterclass in cognitive engineering.
We really have. We've identified a structure that's perfectly tailored for the analytical mind. You have phase 1, the physical grounding with the candle breath. Then phase 2, the effortless glide and processing, where the boat removes your executive function and the stars perform that structured cognitive replacement.
And phase 3, the final sanctuary, uses these architectural metaphors, the archway, the protective stones, the falling stars, to grant explicit permission to rest.
The success of the design is in its granular detail. Every sensory input, every color, every sound cue, it's all tied to a specific function. Outsourcing cognitive load, dismantling the perception of time, and dissolving physical tension. The whole system is designed to shepherd a high-functioning mind into a state of wide, spacious calm.
It demonstrates the immense power of sequential, highly specific imagery. For the learner, this isn't just about relaxation, it's a measurable, reproducible process for achieving profound release by successfully outsourcing that internal inventory of stress.
Fascinating stuff. It really turns winding down from a struggle into an engineered process.
It really does. Before we wrap up this deep dive, let's leave you, the listener, with a final provocative thought that builds on this idea of conscious thought transformation.
If the lake truly is a container that accepts all our worries and leftover thoughts, transforming them into light, we invite you to consider one persistent piece of leftover thought from your own day. Maybe it's a nagging detail, a missed opportunity, or a task you forgot to write down.
Instead of letting it spin in the background, Assign it to one of those glowing, resting stars tonight. And think about this. If that worry were a star, what kind of light would it emit? Would it be a sharp, frantic flash, or maybe a cool, soft lavender, indicating that even that last little burden is ready to settle and be held gently by the benevolent architecture of the resting lake?
Think about what it means to be truly done for the day. Until the next deep dive, keep learning and rest well.